Hi, my name is Sarissa, and today I'm going to be talking about Paintsville, Kentucky in terms of a windshield survey. So for starters, I had to set boundaries for this project, and my boundaries are actually very easy for me. I made sure to make a good area where I could get a good idea of what the city is like while also not making the area so big that it made the project too difficult. So I decided to use Johnson Central Elementary School, which is right past my house. It's beside a bunch of subdivisions, as one boundary, and then for another boundary I chose Mountain Comprehensive Care Center, which is on the way to Prestonsburg, and that was a good boundary for me because it set a limit on that road where I needed to end. And my last boundary was actually the biggest intersection in town, which is the end of the city limits. Basically, you can go several directions and go into several different other cities, as well as make your way onto 23, get onto the highway, and go other places. When it came to housing, most of the houses were pretty well maintained, especially the ones closer to Main Street, which was a higher income area in the city. Most of them seemed to be fairly large in size, while also not being massive houses. They were around, I'd say, 2 to 3 bedrooms. And they were a pretty good idea of the city and what the living standards were like in the city. We also have low-income housing available, which is mostly up 6th Street, which is one of our low-income areas of the city. And we have several assisted living areas as well, the biggest one being the high-rise, which is actually, it's a taller structure in the city, and it's more for senior citizens and those who live off of Social Security as their income, and it is actually the tallest building in Paintsville. When it came to pollution in the area, there was not really a whole lot. It's just your typical people throwing stuff out of the cars on the side of the road and littering in the plaza, which is where I happen to be at right now. Most of the city is decently well taken care of. Some of the buildings do look a little bit run down, but we are actually in the process of doing a project to revamp the city and make it look a lot better and make it look brand new. There are a few different recreational areas in the city. There were 2 big parks, which actually have structures for children to play on, slides, swing sets, mostly things of that nature. There's one smaller park, which it's not really a park. There's a gazebo and there's a lawn area for people to go and enjoy themselves, have a picnic. And not only this, we have the city pool, which is actually right next to one of the parks. However, that was closed down this year due to the pandemic. But it is a really great place for everybody to come together in the city and just enjoy yourself and have a good time in the summer. We don't really have a lot of public transportation around here. Most of the public transportation in the area is for things like medical reasons or assisted living areas. They have public transportation available for everyone. When it came to health agencies and making sure, the community was taken care of in that regard, we have Poly Hall Medical Center, which is right across from the Ramada Inn, and they have your typical ER as well as your normal hospital services where you can go and you can get treated if need be. And on top of that, we have doctor's offices, so many doctor's offices in the area. We have veterinary clinics, and we have an actual wound care center where you can go if you have a larger wound that needs regular treatments, and they can go and they can clean out your wound for you and things of that nature. We also have the after hours clinic for whenever doctor's offices are closed, but you still need regular doctors to take care of things, just like if you have the flu or things of that nature. When it came to the businesses in the area, it's mostly just chain restaurants and smaller businesses. There are a few mom and pop shops, so to speak, that a lot of them have actually closed down because of the pandemic. They couldn't keep themselves up and running and compete. But we have a few larger businesses. We have a couple banks in the area. We have, Walmart, stuff like that. Sorry about that. But genuinely speaking, the biggest employment areas it's customer service. You're working with the general public, you're working with people. And I would love to see that change. I would love to see a lot more things come into Paintsville. When it comes to protective services, we have the biggest one being the police station, which is right before you go into downtown area of Paintsville. They're right next to a bunch of houses, and actually right down the road from the police department is the fire department, which, you know, it's very great location for both of them because they're both right off of Main Street. They're able to get to wherever they need within city limits pretty fairly quickly. For religious buildings, we have several churches. A lot of the churches are, of course, Christian based because we do live in the Appalachia region, which is also more commonly known as the Bible Belt. Most of them are Christian based. I haven't actually seen anything that's not very Christian based in this area, which I would actually love to see more of. I would like to see people being able to worship freely. We have several schools inside of city limits. We have Johnson Central High School, Johnson Central Middle, Johnson Central Elementary School, as well as Paintsville Elementary School and Paintsville High School. And there's also a local Christian school that provides a better education as it is a private school. Paintsville's it's a quaint little town. It's very nice. There's no real big issues with gangs or anything of that nature. The biggest issue is drugs in the community, and to me that's one of the biggest things that we need to work on, because drugs ruin communities, and we have a lot of areas that are ruined because people leave their paraphernalia laying around, and you see people out in public inebriated off of anything and everything. Other than this, I feel relatively comfortable in my city. It's very small, so everyone seems to know each other. Just about everybody is willing to help you out with whatever you need. If you need directions, you can usually find somebody who's willing to help. Overall, it's a small town. We have some issues. We really need to work on things like the drug problem. We need to have more access to help for these people. We need to work on cleaning up our city. But other than that, it's a wonderful little place to live.